Imagine for a second that everything we thought we knew about prehistoric Europe was just wrong. Seriously, we tend to picture Bronze Age Europeans as primitive, right? Simple farmers just relying on basic instincts to get by. But then, a stunning 3,600-year-old artifact is pulled out of the dirt, and it instantly shatters that entire misconception. This single object reveals a society with an incredibly advanced grasp of the cosmos, way before anyone thought it was even possible.
To put the sheer scale of this discovery into perspective, the UNESCO Memory of the World Register doesn't hold back. They literally call it one of the most important archaeological finds of the 20th century. And there is a very good reason for that. This mysterious, beautifully patented bronze disc predates Babylonian astronomy, which, we usually consider the absolute cradle of ancient science, by a full millennium, 1,000 years. It completely rewrites our timeline of human history and forces us to completely rethink what our ancient ancestors were actually capable of.
So, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to interrogate a physical piece of metal like it's a forensic diary. We are digging deep into the Nebra Sky Disk to uncover the incredibly advanced astronomy of the Bronze Age, and we'll trace exactly how early humans mapped the stars. Section 1. The Black Market Discovery, a True Crime Beginning. The story of how we actually got this disk plays out exactly like a Hollywood thriller. It starts illicitly, with two treasure hunters back in 1999. They were operating illegally with metal detectors and unearthed the artifact on Mittelberg Hill in Germany. In their rush, they actually struck and damaged the disc with a pickaxe, yanked it out of the earth, and immediately fenced it on the black market. It bounced around shady dealers for a few years, but then a high-stakes police sting in Basel, Switzerland in 2002 changed the game. In this massive, coordinated undercover operation, police finally recovered the disc, along with a hoard of bronze swords and axes. Now, obviously, when you recover black market goods in a police sting, the first thing scientists have to do is prove the provenance. They had to be sure this 30-centimeter bronze and gold disc wasn't a really elaborate fake. They confirmed it was crafted by the Únětice culture, dating all the way back to 1800 to 1600 BCE. But you know what the absolute smoking gun was? Forensic soil profiling. The dirt still clinging to the back of the disc perfectly matched the unique chemical and geological signature of that looted pit on Mittelberg Hill. So beyond a shadow of a doubt, this was a genuine early Bronze Age treasure.
Section 2. Decoding the Prehistoric Sky, a Prehistoric Calculator.
To really grasp what this disk was used for, we have to understand a massive existential problem that ancient farmers faced. See, a solar year, which is based on the sun's orbit and dictates the seasons, is about 365 days long. But a lunar year, based strictly on moon phases, is only 354 days. That creates an 11-day drift between the two calendars every single year. Now think about it. If you're a Bronze Age farmer who desperately needs to know exactly when to plant your seeds to survive the winter, relying purely on the moon is a recipe for disaster. Within just a few years, your lunar calendar will fall completely out of sync with the actual physical seasons. So how did they fix this life-threatening calendar drift? They used a concept called intercalation. That's just a fancy word for the insertion of a leap month into a calendar to synchronize the shorter lunar year with the longer solar year. It's exactly like the modern leap year that we use today. We add one day to February every 4 years to keep things aligned, right? Well, these ancient societies were doing this with entire months, over 3.5 millennia ago. And this is where the disk is just brilliant. It perfectly illustrates how they executed this complex math without any written language. It's literally a visual rulebook. Step 1. You observe the Pleiades star cluster in the spring sky. Those are the 7 closely packed gold dots right there on the disk. Step 2. You check the thickness of the real moon standing next to it in the actual sky. Step 3. If that real moon is a thick, 3.5-day-old crescent, looking exactly like the one inlaid in gold on the disk itself, boom, you must add a leap month. If it's a thinner, new moon, you don't. So a Bronze Age priest could literally hold this disk up to the heavens and calculate a vital mathematical adjustment on the spot. Section 3. 5 phases of the disk. A changing cosmos. The crazy thing is, the disk wasn't just a static one-and-done tool. Tracing its chronological timeline reveals a physical evolution over 200 years of continuous use. It's like they kept downloading software updates to it. Around 1800 BCE, in Phase 1, it featured just that pure night sky with the Pleiades, sun, and moon used for the leap month rule. Then, a whole century later in Phase 2, these horizon arcs were added to the outer edges, fundamentally changing its function. By Phase 3, around 1650 BCE, a mythical solar boat was added to the bottom, which layered religion directly over the science. And finally, Phase 5 marks its final deposition around 1600 BCE, when it was ritually buried in the earth. Now, what's truly mind-blowing here is the precise 82-degree angle formed by those gold horizon arcs added during Phase 2. They aren't just pretty decorations, not at all. If you hold the disk completely horizontally on Middleburg Hill, right where it was originally buried, that 82-degree angle perfectly tracks the sun's sweeping path between the summer and winter solstice points at that exact specific latitude. So they literally upgraded a leap year calculator into a highly precise geographic and solar compass.
Section 4. Bronze Age Master Metalsmiths, Forensic Metallurgy.
Building an instrument of this incredible precision required some serious craftsmanship, and the raw materials alone reveal an astonishing pan-European trade network. The copper? That came from the Mitterberg mines, way down in the Austrian Alps. The tin, which is absolutely essential to make bronze, came all the way from Cornwall, England. And the gold? Also from the Carnon Valley in Cornwall. Think about that. This proves how deeply, deeply interconnected Bronze Age Europe was. They were moving massive amounts of heavy, precious raw materials across thousands of kilometers of treacherous mountains, rivers, and oceans. Once they actually gathered those materials, the manufacturing process was incredibly intense. The bronze had to be initially cast at an extreme temperature of 1200 degrees Celsius. That is unbelievably hot. Imagine the massive logistical effort required just to achieve and sustain that kind of heat, using only primitive charcoal hearths and hand-pumped bellows. It's a staggering industrial achievement for the era. It required coordinated labor and highly specialized knowledge that, honestly, we rarely credit to prehistoric societies. And the physical labor definitely didn't stop at the casting. The disc actually underwent 55 intense cycles of heating and hammering. Modern materials science reveals they used a complex process called recrystallization. Basically, the smiths would heat the metal to about 700 degrees, hammer it out forcefully from the center, let the metal cool and heal its crystalline grain structure, and then do it again and again. 54 more times. This entirely confirms their master-level metallurgical skills. They weren't just lazily pouring metal into a mold, they were manipulating its very molecular structure through deep experiential knowledge.
Section 5. Power, Priests, and Calendars. The motive behind the metal.
So, why go through all of this incredible trouble? Well, the creators of this disc were the powerful Únětice elite. They were a highly stratified, warrior-oriented society who built massive wealth by monopolizing the trade of copper, tin, and amber. But to maintain that level of control, they dictated the communal temporal order. Essentially, they presented themselves as the ultimate mediators between cosmic harmony and earthly survival. This highly guarded astronomical knowledge wasn't for everyone. It was wielded by an elite class of priest-kings to consolidate absolute political power over the entire region.
Archaeologist Harold Miller really hits the nail on the head here when he says, the establishment of a new temporal order demonstrates their claim to state power. Think about it in practical, everyday terms. Whoever could accurately predict the changing of the seasons, tell the community exactly when to plant their crops, and command the sacred calendar, well, they ultimately controlled the food supply, the wealth, and the people. To them, controlling the calendar literally meant controlling the world.
But we have to remember that power was also deeply, deeply rooted in faith. Let's look back quickly at that Phase 3 edition of the solar boat. The cosmic barge is a mythical vessel believed to carry the sun through the underworld at night. This beautiful mythological symbol shows exactly how they tied their rigorous, mathematical, scientific observation directly into their religious cosmology. It wasn't just some lifeless utilitarian tool. It was a sacred object that physically married the math of the heavens with the mythology of the gods. So what does this all mean for us today? It means our ancestors were brilliant, resourceful, and deeply connected to the universe. They mapped the cosmos, forged advanced metal alloys, and traded across an entire continent, all without written math. Which leaves us with a genuinely fascinating thought to ponder. What other mind-blowing ancient knowledge still lies buried beneath our feet, just waiting to rewrite history all over again?